Okay, I believe that we are live. Hey everyone, Ethan here, and welcome back to more recreating Pokemon sprites in Minecraft. This time we got the Poliwag line. Very consistent colors across the board. Same color scheme as the Nidoqueen and Golbat line, so blue concrete and light blue terracotta. I've kind of been waiting on this one for like quite a long time because I really like the Poliwag line. So honestly, without further ado, we may as well jump right into it. Poliwag actually might be the busiest of the three. Just because, well, I say that all of them have the swirls, so it could go either way. I have a pretty decently zoomed out view of Poliwag. I could actually see the entire thing in one screen, so hopefully I won't actually have to change that. Hopefully that won't mess me up at all. That actually goes there. But yeah, no, I think I mentioned this several streams ago. I've been quite excited to do this. I really like the Poliwag line. I've used a Poliwrath twice, at least twice, from what I can remember, maybe more than that, I don't know. I initially used it in my first playthrough of Crystal, which actually exists somewhere on YouTube, because I did like a kind of let's play with no commentary on once I discovered that the emulator I used had like a built-in recording function. So I did that, made like a let's play. It was like the only let's play I ever like started and completed, I guess. How many is that? 5? I think it's 5 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, I used the Poliwrath in that one because Poliwag you could actually catch, in Crystal specifically, you can catch it very early on, like right past Cherry Grove, without having to like surf or anything. So that was nice. I've never used the Politoed. Well, I technically haven't. I do remember years ago, back when I, first discovered like emulation and stuff like that, and Pokemon ROM hacks. I'm not like much of a Pokemon ROM hack player, but at the time I caught wind of the Pokemon Shiny Gold ROM hack, which I think is like one of the OGs. Which is basically just like Gen 2 Johto made in Gen 3, with some like differences and like I guess like improvements or whatever. And I don't remember how I was able to get Politoed. I think like they changed the evolution method because they knew like you couldn't trade. So I at some point it just evolved into a Politoed. And I wasn't gonna be upset about that. What is that only 2? Yeah, okay, that's 2. And then this right here, and then that goes down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, yeah, okay, that's perfect. And then this is connected to here, that goes up. So yeah, excuse me. I never used Politoed in an actual playthrough. But that's just because I've never had access to trading. And if I have, either I didn't have access to the King's Rock or I just didn't want to for that playthrough. I kind of want to trail off because I just want to make sure that I'm like everything's lined up properly. I don't want to get like too deep into that before potentially realizing like a mistake. But yeah, And then the other time I used Poliwrath was quite recently when I, for my playthrough of Leaf Green that I did for the channel. I named it Frobable, which at the time I couldn't remember where I got the nickname from. Like I remembered it from somewhere, but I couldn't remember where it was from. And I since remembered that it's like the name of the Froakie that Shauna can trade you once you beat X and Y. That Froakie's named Frobable. I think it's spelled differently. I kind of did like Fro Bubble. So I can't really. I'm gonna have to count this. 1, 2, 1, 2. I gotta zoom in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's 8 right there. Okay, move my view over. Okay, yeah, that should be fine. So this should be 8 from here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I think this is right. I'm gonna do my best to ensure that it is. So a way I could determine that is there's 3 here, and like this goes up like that. And then right here it should be 1, 2, 3. 2 of these here. 5 white here. And then 1 there. And then 2 black here. That should go like that. I don't know why I'm getting lag spikes. Like the game is running fine. And that should be 3 that connects to there. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this should be good. 3 down here. 2. 1 each. Blue on the end. But yeah, I used it in Leaf Green. I remember being a little disappointed with how late it was caught. I could technically catch it as a Poliwag, but it made no sense to, because I can get a Poliwhirl at the same like level. So that's just what I did, which I usually don't like to do. I usually like to, if I get team members, I like to get them at their first stage. So like in hindsight, I probably would have tried to use a different water type and then saved Poliwrath for probably Gen 2. But it is what it is. I never used it in Kanto before though, and honestly, it wasn't bad. It obviously suffered from the physical special split not being a thing yet, so it's like I had to go off of its weaker special attack stat for its water moves. But at least since it was Gen 3, it had decent access to fighting moves. I don't think it was anything amazing, but I think at the very least I got like Brick Break, which is like, you know, enough. Obviously I don't think Poliwrath has ever been seen as like the strongest water type in a generation completely littered with water types. But I remember it pulling its own weight. It's kind of weird because in hindsight, I probably should have chose a different team. What's going on here? Okay, something's not right here. Something is not right here because this right here is supposed to be the top. So something's off somewhere. Let's see. Is it right here? So we have this, and then how many blues? 1 here, 1 here. I think I did an extra one of these on accident. Maybe not actually. No, I think I did. Alright, so let's get rid of this. And this is the exact reason why I went somewhere else, because I wanted to make sure that I was correct. Okay, so we got one of these right here. Then we have another one. And this one actually has a black that comes out here. Right, goes. I want to see if I can make it all the way across, just so I could like kind of verify. And then 3 there. This is supposed to be blue right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blue. Look at that. It's perfect. And then, oops, 2 there. That goes like that. Yeah, okay. So, I'm proud of myself. That's called learning from your mistakes right there. Because if I had just kept going on that, and it's like, oh, like I want to do like the whole outline on top, it would have been a bit disastrous. And this is just all filled in. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's one of its eyes. This is like the other eye, but it's like cut off, so it looks really weird. Black there. And then... Oops, I did not mean to swap that. In hindsight, though, on that leaf green team, I had 2 fighting types. I had Poliwrath and I had Hitmonlee. I kind of like... Poliwrath was like less so like my fighting type and more so just my water type. But it did mean that in the Grand Land of Kanto, I had 3 Pokemon weak to Psychic. I think I mentioned this in my video. Where I had 3 Pokemon weak to Psychic, and I also had Rhydon who could not take a special hit to save its life. So it's like I had basically 2 potential counters to ice types, being Raichu and Dragonite. And I didn't get Dragonite until after my first Elite Four run. Now we're starting on the spiral, so this is going to be weird. And it's going to have a lot of alternating colors. But... what is that, 5? 2, 3, 4, 5? Because 1 passed? Yeah, okay. And then it kind of gets a little funky here, too. 1, 2, 3. Realistically... I think, like, thinking about all my options, I can't remember every Kanto Pokemon off the top of my head, but I think that it would have been smarter of me to go with a Pokemon like Ninetales, instead of Hitmonlee, because I would have preferred to have Poliwrath no matter what. Is black here? Yeah. I do like Hitmonlee to a degree, though. That's why I used it. But just thinking about what Pokemon I hadn't used yet, or what Pokemon that, like, I hadn't been, like, already planned out ahead of time, Ninetales probably would have been, a front runner. And it's unfortunate because I still, like, I've been trying to find a place for Ninetales, but I just haven't yet. So that's kind of unfortunate, but I think Ninetales is like decently bulky. It would have helped more against like the Psychics or whatever. I think though, like, my losses only ended up coming at the hands of like the Elite Four in both the initial run and the rematch. I don't remember if I lost to any regular Elite Four members, or it was just the champion on the first run. I know the rematch run, it was just like, it was a puzzle. And I'm not sure that Ninetales actually would have made that better. Because I remember, especially for the champion, like, it was so bad. Specifically, like, Tyranitar. Tyranitar was such a huge issue. But yeah, I kind of want to go back and, like, look at that and, like, you know, see maybe if, like, a different team would have been better. Or, like, a different team member, I should say. But at the end of the day, I'm not, you know, for the most part, I'm not going through these and being like, what would be the best Pokemon to go through them with. I'm gonna use what I want. There'll definitely be times where I'm like, I have to change things because I'm like, oh, like I think I recently had to like take a decent look at my platinum playthrough that I have planned. I think it's platinum, where the Pokemon that were going to be on my team, like all of them, I basically was not going to get a second team member until after the Eterna Galactic building. And I'm like, that's just not going to be, like, that's not going to be viable. Well, I'll put a pin in that because that's Poliwag. It's still Gen 1, so it looks a little, like, just a little bit off, but I think that the sprite came out really nice, in terms of, like, recreation. So, why don't we just jump right into Poliwhirl? What number is Poliwag? Poliwag's number 60, so 61. Poliwhirl I cannot get all in one view. We're going to be starting in the bottom right here. Same color scheme. Yeah, honestly, it's probably going to be a linear sort of like time sync slash difficulty, because they all have like the swirl in the middle. Like their bodies are mostly blue, but it's like I think the swirl is like the swirl that's just gonna keep getting bigger is gonna be like the main kind of thing, and that could just go all the way down there. But either way, yeah, basically in my platinum, like in my planned platinum team, I planned on starting with Turtwig, and my next team member was not going to be available until like after I got cut, or not after I got cut, after I got access to the bike. And it's just like I looked at that and I'm like, I could maybe beat Gardenia with just a Turtwig. Like the matchup is like, it's not super bad. Like I could maybe make it work. It might take a couple tries, I don't know. But then it's like to have to go right into the Galactic building where I'm facing a skunk tank with a I don't know, like I don't know why I said that so weird. A skunk tank with flamethrower, I'm pretty sure it has. I don't know if it has it yet, but at the very least I think it has like poison moves and like Night Slash and stuff. So it's like one Pokemon is not getting past that, especially because I think like she opens with like a Zubat too. So it's like it's just like not a matchup that would be like in my favor at all. Does that go like that? That's lined up at there. Yeah, okay. So this is its fist. I really don't know why there's like lag spikes. My frame rate is good. I have it locked at my monitor refresh rate. But yeah, I don't know. I thought I heard, I could be wrong, that sometimes they're just like, if you're like standing on like certain parts of like chunks or whatever, it can like give you lag spikes. I don't take that to heart. I really don't know, but that could be the case, because I think it did it back when I did like a Pokemon over there. I think it was either one of the Nidos or like Arbok or something. So thankfully it's like infrequent enough to where it's not like too bad. Also, another little anecdote that I just wanted to mention really quick is that I probably took me too long to notice this, but I noticed that the block placing sound was quite loud. So I went ahead and turned that down. Hopefully it's like a lot better, because I want everyone to be able to hear the music like pretty well, because it's like the sound of placing blocks is really not that important in this. Like, you know what's going on, you know, like I think it's still good to hear it, so it's like, you know, you kind of get that sound feedback of the game, because I feel like if it was silent it'd be like really kind of jarring, and if I was like watching my stream I would not like that. But I definitely turned it down because it was like overpowering the music. But now it should be like, hopefully a lot better. Okay, so that's good. I may as well keep, I was gonna say keep working it from here, but I actually can't see anymore from here. What I will do though, 5? Yeah, 5 right there. And then I can just bring this all the way down. And this is just all blue. But yeah, so it's like I kind of had to rearrange my platinum team a little bit. Usually I like to try not to just like axe members and like be like, I have to replace this. Like usually I'll plan out like, you know, I'll be like, okay, well like maybe I can move one of my Pokemon that I'm going to use in like BDSP to here and like, you know, kind of swap them. Which is what I actually did quite recently with Crystal and Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Okay, this goes all the way up to here. And it goes over 1. This is part of the spiral. I kind of want to work around the spiral first before I start on it. Okay, so this is... What color am I using here? This is light blue. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'll do 2 there, but then I'm gonna actually work back down here. Something I do want to mention about the Poliwag or Poliwrath line, I don't know, I go back and forth on calling it by the last line or the last Pokemon in the line of the first one, is that I will say I kind of do wish that there was a bit more of a drastic design kind of change from Poliwhirl to Poliwrath. Like the fact that like Poliwrath is just kind of like an angry looking Poliwhirl is like a bit disappointing. Like I don't think that there are any notable differences besides it being slightly bigger, it being fighting type, and it being angry. It's like, well, I don't think it's as an extreme example of this, but like it kind of reminds me a little bit of like a much less severe version of like the Palmont line, where, you know, that like with the Palmont line, I feel like Palmo just should not exist. I feel like it should just be a 2-stage and go straight from Palmy to Palmont, but whatever. That's good 3. Which there's not a lot of like times where I'm like, this Pokemon straight up should not exist, but I think that's one of those times that I'm like that. And I do really like Poliwrath still. Did I repeat stuff? No, this is 2, this is 1. And then the rest of this is blue. But yeah, I still love Poliwrath. I kind of wish it was better. But it just is what it is on that front. This goes up at least 5. And then I can't see anymore. And then that's like that. That's like that. Oops. How far does this go down? Okay, so we got this right here. This goes up 3. And then the rest of that's black. That's like that. 2. There's the lag spike again. And then 1, 2, 3. We got that there. 1, 2, 3. Got that there. This comes out 2 extra. That's just completely filled in. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of just working on the spiral now. And this just like tracks down there like that. 3 up, we got the blue. That connects it there perfectly. And then I can't see too well, but that goes in like that. There's 2 white there. And I think it's blue, black, blue, white, white, black, white, black, white. This goes down to here, goes like that. And that goes like that. This just follows that. This is like an M. And this is actually like too thick. Okay. This is 1, 2, 3 here, and then that just goes all the way down. No, actually it does not go all the way down. Because we have 3 blue right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That goes up like that, and blue kind of undermines it. Not undermines it, underlines it. I believe that goes like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. One there. Lined with blue. And okay. So that's basically the spiral. And then I think this just goes up like this. Actually, there's not one there. Interesting. Okay, and then everything else here is white. Okay, this actually was not as bad as I thought it'd be, but it's still quite busy. Oh, I didn't fill this in down here. This is just all white. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do actually? I don't know if I like did this the last time I played, but I'm gonna turn my render distance down just a little bit to 12. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, like I said, the lag spikes are not the worst thing in the world, but they're still there. Okay, so now we basically, oh, I gotta fill in his foot. Yeah, going back though to like my run through Leaf Green though, like with Poliwrath, I look back on it like super fondly. Like I remember just having a really nice, challenging time. Where? Okay, so this is the top one that we're looking at. So we're not done with the spiral yet. That goes like that. And that's all that there. And then this kind of just follows that. 2 blue. There's also blue right here. Oops. And then this is 3. Blue, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 there, goes down. Got another blue. 2 more right there. Should be 4, which it is. Black lines that. Blue right here. Blue right here. And then just white. Okay. And then let's finish up the spiral. On par with that. We have blue there. White here. This goes up to... So now we got some light blue because this is like the upper left part of the chest, belly, I don't know. That's 5, that's 2, that's 2. This is also 2, but it starts kind of going down like this. So little L, and then, yeah, that connects right there, perfect. 1 blue right there just to kind of put a bow on that, and then officially finishing up the spiral. There we go. Looking good. Alright, so right here we have blue. This goes up just a little bit. And then this kind of starts to go into the other fist. Oops. That's 4, but it comes out a little bit up here. And that goes up there a little bit, and we got some funky patterns going on right here. Like that. One of those right there. I guess we're working on one of the eyes now, just because that's where I just so happen to start working. I am doing this in such an odd order, but at this point, when am I not anymore? Okay, and then that's right there, below the blue. 1, 2, 3. I do like how just circular the eye is. I like it when sprites do that, where it's just the eye is just so simple. Like that. That looks like an eye. There's no mistaking what that is, in my opinion. Let's do the nose. Well, the nostrils. Okay, the nose is done. I'm not going to fill all this in now, but I at least want to fill in what's over here. Okay, so let's go back up to the fist. You have like an upside down M. Then 4 goes up. Then we have alternating blue. Blue, 1, 2, 3. And like that. That connects down there. Okay, and now mostly just filling stuff in. Actually no, we still got some border stuff over here. One, 2. Blue and black. Okay, so now we're done with border stuff. Now it's just light blue and white. So I'm gonna do one of those colors first, being a light blue, and then I'll go back and do the white. And this comes up one more? Yeah, okay, and that goes like that. And then the rest of this is just white, because it's the glove. But I would probably, like... I've kind of always been divided on... Oops, I did not mean to put that in my offhand. I've always been kind of divided on what my favorite Gen 1 water type is. Usually between Poliwrath, Blastoise, and Starmie. I think... I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure in my Gen... like, my RBY video, or I should say Red and Blue video. I think I put Blastoise at number 5, and then I put Starmie in the runners-up. And that, I guess that would mean that Poliwrath was number 4? If that's correct, because Venusaur and Gengar were number 1 and 2. Magneton was number 3. So yeah, I think Poliwrath was number 4. And then the runners-up were Starmie, Rhydon, and Raichu, I think? I think that's right. That's like that. Now we're actually almost done, because we just gotta fill in the blue. But yeah, I've gone back and forth on it. Like, sometimes I feel like I like Starmie the most out of the 3. Probably around that time I felt like I really liked Blastoise, and I even considered liking it more than Venusaur, but that kind of faded. What the heck? Oh. I don't know why that confused me so much. That's Poliwhirl. The thing I got confused about was the block right here, and I'm like, how the heck did I place the block like outside of the border? But that's just where Poliwrath is starting. I forgot that that's the starting point for it. That's Poliwhirl. Honestly, I think it looks really good. The only thing I'm not in love with is that I think this eye like looks a little too wide. I don't know if that's just me. But I think it looks good. So let's get started on the only dual water fighting in Kanto. Where is it? 62 Poliwrath on there. Let's pull up my chat. Okay, so we are starting on the leftmost wall, a decent amount up. Actually, I gotta count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going 6 up with black. And we're starting with one of the feet. That's 4. That goes down 1. That goes down 2. And we're actually gonna go over here. But yeah, right now I don't know like which one of the 3 waters I would consider like my favorite. Like I'm kind of inclined to say Starmie right now, but it's subject to change. Like I could probably like go back and watch my Fire Red and Leaf Green video and be like, oh yeah, Poliwrath is my favorite water type. I think, yeah, it's just kind of a subject to change thing. I think the top 3, we'll always say the top 3 though. Hold on, I have to sneeze. Okay, sorry about that. That came out of nowhere. Yeah, okay, this is just all filled in right here. Yeah, okay. All of a sudden I'm getting like really stuffy and I don't know why. Hopefully it doesn't get too annoying with me sniffling. Hopefully it'll go away soon. But yeah, and I wouldn't even be, well, I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised like the next time I use one of them on a team, like, you know, I'll end up liking that one more, but at this point I've actually used all 3 of them on at least teams for my videos, so. I did recently shiny hunt 2 Staryu in Ultra Sun via the SOS thing. And that actually, like, I got them both pretty quick. I think it only took like an hour for each of them. So, like, I have recency bias in that. Like, that's why I might be saying Starmie right now. But, like, just a few months ago, they had the mass outbreak event for Scarlet and Violet. I'm starting to cough now. I do not know where this is coming from. But they had the mass outbreak event for Scarlet and Violet where you can get shiny Poliwag, which was, wow, it was so great because the shiny is like impossible to see. So at that point in time it probably would have been that. And sometime last year is when I was shiny hunting the Squirtle line in Scarlet and Violet. So at that time, I probably would have said that. Yeah. But I did say, though, I don't think the top 3 are going to change. Although I have like gone back and forth on whether on the number 1 and 2, like if my favorite's Venusaur, if it's Gengar. I believe in the video I said Gengar. I probably still stand by that. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, like Gengar is like my favorite. Other times like I'm like, well, maybe I like Chandelure better than Gengar. So it's like I don't know. It's just difficult. I just know that I love them both though. Like they're so great, and I love Magneton too. But Magneton will never be on the top just because Magnezone exists. So I know like Magneton is like not complete. Which actually kind of getting into that for a second. One of my general rules I don't like using unevolved Pokemon. Like, you're never gonna catch me like going through a game with like just Pikachu, and I think that's part of the reason why I didn't use like the partner Pokemon in Let's Go. I just don't want to. So I kind of like, when it comes to like Pokemon that get evolutions like in later gens, like for example, like I'm using Magneton in this playthrough of Pokemon Gold and Silver. I don't consider that the same thing because it's like at that time that Pokemon was considered complete. So I'm still willing to use that Pokemon in their, at that point, complete form, and then still open to even using like the evolved form later. Like, just because I'm using Magneton in this playthrough does not mean that I will never use a Magnetone. Like, I 100% guarantee you that I will. But at that point though, it just kind of comes down to personal preference on like what Pokemon what Pokemon that get evolutions later that I want to use versus that I don't. And there's probably a lot of like ones from Gen 2 specifically that I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait until like it gets like a new form or whatever. Because who wants to use Piloswine? I mean, like, I'm singling out Piloswine here. Actually, Piloswine is probably like one of the like better like quote unquote like complete Gen 2 options. But I guess a better example would be like Apom. So, you know. Actually, though, something I want to talk about now, because it's topical, is the Pokemon Direct that's happening this upcoming Tuesday. It seems like it's going to be pretty big. I think I've touched on it before, how it's like, you know, they announced it way ahead of time. And it seems like it's going to be big. I don't know if they're going to announce Gen 10. I don't know if I want them to announce Gen 10 yet. I don't know. Like, I say that, but it's like, it's been a while. Like, we're used to, like a 3-year gap between generations, and it's at the point where like this is 3 years, and we're not getting Gen 10 this year. Like, that's not happening. So it's like, if they announce it this year for next year, I don't think I'll be upset at that. Like, no matter what, the game that we get is probably going to be a bit rushed. I just kind of expect that at this point. Like, I don't know if we're ever going to get a Pokemon game again that doesn't feel like it's hitting its full potential. Wow, that was a big leg spike. I've like, you could kind of come after me and like criticize me, saying, you know, like I shouldn't accept that, and I should be like, you know, I should want like a better standard out of games, and I agree. I just think that I'm kind of like at the point where it's like, you know, I'm gonna try to enjoy the game that we get for what it is. And I perfectly understand if people aren't like I guess a good example is Scarlet and Violet, right? Like, those games launched in a quite buggy state. They're still quite buggy. It's just that the frame rate is actually like playable now. I think there's 2 right here, right? Is that it? Yeah, okay, that seems right. So it's like, I think like when it launched, people were kind of like in 2 camps of being like, oh, like these games are terrible, like they should have never launched. Like they're in a horrific state, you know, this is unacceptable. And then like the other side being like, oh well, like, you know, like just be happy for what you get, like graphics don't matter, like these games are playable, blah blah blah. Man, yeah, I understand both sides. I think like when it came out, I was happy to play it, but I'm like, man, like this, like the frame rate I mainly the frame rate more than anything, like the frame drops and everything, like that definitely brought down my experience and view of the game. And there's a reason that I played it so much since the Switch 2 version has come out, because I find it so much more enjoyable. It's, you know, and I think I've said before, like, it's still not perfect, you know, the raids still suck, but yeah. So it's like, I know that whatever Gen 10 is, like, there's gonna be, like, things that people aren't happy about, because it's like, oh, like, you know, this game could have used X amount more time. And I agree, but I don't think it's ever gonna matter. I think Pokemon is kind of in a state where it's too big to fail. So it's like, no matter what, like, originally, I'll fully admit, when Sword and Shield came out, I did not want to purchase it, because of the whole, is this right? Yeah, I did not want to purchase it because of, like, them cutting the national dex, I guess, Dexit. Them, like, not having all the Pokemon included in the code, all that stuff. And even today, like, I'm still, like, I'm still upset about that. And I actually only got Shield. I got a copy of Shield, I think it was either launch day or the day after, because my friend wanted it and wanted me to play it alongside them, so they offered to buy it for me. Because they're like, oh, well, like, you want to vote with your wallet, well, you know, I'll just buy it then. And I'm like, fine. Like, I kind of gave into it. I'm like, okay, like, I want to play Pokemon. It's like, it was still enjoyable, but it's like, I don't hold Sword and Shield in super high regard, though, because of, like, you know, that. And I think that's, like, an example of, you know, it not living up to its potential. Like, either, like, they cut the Pokemon and the game looked a lot better than it should have, or, like, ran a lot better, or, like, had a lot more polish or content than it should have, versus them, like, it kind of being in the same kind of quality, but it actually having all the Pokemon. Like, it felt like with Sword and Shield that, like, we just kind of got nothing, like, nothing out of it. Like, you know, I guess it's because we saw the E3 footage and we're like, wow, like, this looks like kind of, like, not great, but it's like, it's unreleased, you know, like, they'll have more time in there. And that's when they said, you know, that they were not including all the Pokemon in the game so that they could have more time to, like, polish up animations and stuff like that. And then the game came out and it looked like the exact same as the E3, like, demo or whatever. So it's like, it just, like, I think many other people kind of just felt cheated, because it's like, oh, we don't have the Pokemon, like, we don't have all the Pokemon, like, we can't transfer all the Pokemon in, and the game is not great. Is this like the, okay, yeah, it's quite literally just blue from here on down. Okay, so yeah, you could pretty much see my view. We're actually going to work over, do I want to do the right side or the left side? I'll do the right side. Because this part's all good, so we're basically just going to be working up. Like that. But yeah, I would hope that, like, I guess something that I do expect to hear about in this direct is Pokemon Champions. I can't say whether or not I'm excited for that game. I don't really play, like, competitive Pokemon. I've had, like, passing interests in it before. I played, like, very limited amount of Showdown. I played a tiny bit of, what's that, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I played a couple competitive battles on, like, PokeMMO. But yeah, I've never gotten super into it. Hello, Chalkiana. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Working on Poliwrath right now. Going through the whole Poliwag line. We're on the final form. Talking about the upcoming Pokemon Direct. kind of what to expect, what to hope for, and all that stuff. And that goes there. How many is that? That's 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just finish it. That's very nice. What is that? What is that crown? What does that mean? I've like seen like it's like some sort of top fan feature. I don't really get it. Okay, yeah. So I guess there's like some sort of system now that's like, I guess like it like ranks people or something like that. Like I guess maybe on how often you chat. So I guess you're my number one fan, I guess. So congratulations. It's an honor, and thank you for always coming in the stream to chat it up. And this just goes through here. This is just all blue, so I should just try to map out the stuff around the blue before I fill in. 1, 2. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they have in store as well. I guess kind of like the big question mark that people are speculating is like, do you think that they're gonna reveal Generation 10? Because we're at the point where it's been 3 years since Scarlet and Violet, which we usually have a 3-year gap between generations. We wouldn't get Gen 10 this year. We'd get it probably next year. So it's like, at that point, it's like we're overdue in a way. So it's like, are they going to announce it now in the middle of the year? Or are they going to wait until Pokemon Day next year? It's like, it's kind of a big question mark. And people are kind of divided on that, on whether they think they're going to show it. I'm not going to fill all this in now because this is a lot to fill in. I'll probably leave like that for last. Okay. I mean, my take on it, I kind of think that they might. They're hyping this up to be like a big direct. Like, they never usually announce Pokemon Directs like so far ahead. And even if they do, it's usually like the one for Pokemon Day, which is in February. So it's like, why would they do this if there wasn't something big to announce? Maybe it's not Gen 10, but I feel like the easiest kind of like prediction would be that. So yeah, I think if I remember correctly, when Gen 9 was announced, we got to see the starters. I don't remember if we got to see Koraidon and Miraidon in that too. I don't remember if that was a part of that or something else. But honestly, at this point, like, I'm kind of ready for it in a way. I'm not gonna be bothered if they don't show it. But I think it'd just be cool to see like the new starters and stuff, if that's what they're gonna do. Well, let's work up from here. Let's work on the glove. Where am I from here? Okay, so I did this. One of these here. That's like that. And that just fills it up there. I think it would definitely be cool to see as well. I think it could happen. I don't know if you've heard like the leaks. I'm pretty sure, like, if I remember correctly, like, these are like, it's basically like confirmed. I say confirmed, like, it hasn't been like confirmed by Pokemon themselves, but I think like the leaks are credible enough to like basically like they're legit. Is that the next region is supposed to be like, it's supposed to be inspired by Greece. So I think that's pretty cool. I like the idea of that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And then there's just a decent amount of light blue down here. Is this? Okay, yeah, that's basically the glove, and then it's just white. Cool. But yeah, if it is based in Greece, I was kind of speculating that, like, with the Pokemon games, they kind of like to do like the dual like versus theming, you know, like Scarlet and Violet was like past versus future, and I mean, like stuff like Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield are like I guess a lot more obvious. I feel like a good like kind of theming for Greece would be kind of like knowledge versus power, or like brain versus brawn, kind of just like referencing like the Spartans and also like Athens and stuff like that. So I think that'd be cool. I don't know what they'd call the versions. It'd probably just make the most sense to do more colors, but that's 4, and then we got that there. Okay, a little bit of light blue here. Oops, that's the wrong color. And then, no, that's not right. This is blue. Yeah, okay. That's all blue. I'm gonna move my view over. Yeah. Okay. So now we just have like this whole section. Actually, there's like more to this over here. Just a good place to start that. 3. Black. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 1, 2. And that right there. And yeah, that's right there. I'm just gonna surround this because I want to. Just go all the way across with it. Do a little bit of filling in right now, why not? Okay, I'll leave the arm part for like later, probably the end. And then this is just all white. Cool. And this completes the spiral. Like completely. Yeah, okay. And now I guess the eye was like a little cut off, or I like never like finished it, I guess. Got some more there. And then this is kind of like a 3x3. This is 5. But something I definitely think we're gonna hear about is the Pokemon Champions game that they announced, I think, on Pokemon Day, which is what seems like kind of like a successor to like Pokemon Stadium, where it's gonna kind of just be like a battle simulator. I'm pretty sure they said it's free to play. I think it's supposed to like involve like all of the generational gimmicks, so Megas, Dynamax, Terrestrialization, Z moves. I think it's supposed to have all of that. I think it's like kind of supposed to be more for like competitive players, or like people who just like battling. But I'm kind of interested to see what they do with that, because I feel like if it's like just like a battle sim, kind of like Pokemon Showdown, I feel like I'm not going to be that interested in it. But if they like kind of add something extra to it, whether it be something simple as like customization, or I don't know, like some other kind of like, I don't want to say PvE mode, but like, you know, some kind of like versus AI mode or like some sort of unlocks or something, I would be a lot more interested. But we basically know nothing about it besides the fact that it exists. Okay, and then light blue here, and it kind of goes down, goes out, and then this is just all filled in. Yeah, okay. And the rest of that's white, but I'll wait to do that. One of those there. This goes up against the wall. I shouldn't have to be too worried about like being off on this part because I started over here. So it's like if I mess something up there, then I would know that the problem isn't like from like the beginning. 3, 4. This just goes all the way over here. 2 there, and then 1, 2, 3. This, you know, that's right there. And that right there. Oops. And that right there. And I think that's, yeah, okay. So the rest of this is just filled in with blue. So we'll fill this in with blue, and then we got the glove that's filled in with white, and then the blue, and then I think we're pretty much done from there. Let me ask you something. If you're still here, though, I guess just kind of a quick question. Do you prefer Poliwrath or Politoad? I honestly don't even know the general consensus on this. For me, I'm fully team Poliwrath. Just because I find it a lot more interesting and oops, I just knocked something over my desk. Yeah, like I like Politoad, but like it just like it feels a little bit removed from the Poliwag line. It probably doesn't help that it's like it's so much easier to get a Poliwrath than Politoad, since one is just a water stone and the other is having to trade while holding an item. Poliwrath also is like a dual type, which I feel like is inherently more interesting. I guess like Politoad's like design is like more interesting, if that makes sense. Like it looks quite different to Poliwhirl, but I just happen to really like the kind of like Poliwhirl, Poliwrath design. Okay, this should just be okay, yeah. Okay, with that, if I'm correct, that is Poliwrath. And that is the entire Poliwag line. I honestly think it turned out really well. In the past, I've talked about how the light blue terracotta is like not the perfect fit for light blue, but honestly here, it looks really good. I absolutely agree with you about Poliwag. I think I mentioned it once I finished it up, but it's like Poliwag's sprite in yellow still kind of suffers from that Gen 1 kind of like weirdness where like it doesn't look quite like its modern design. Like something's just like a little off about it. I don't know what it is exactly. I don't know if the eyes are too small or like they're just like not in the right spot, but yeah. Regardless, I mean, I do think that Poliwhirl and Poliwrath sprites make up for that. So with that, oh yeah, I forgot. I turned my render distance down to help with the lag spikes, but I don't think that worked. There we go. So with that, we are 62 Pokemon deep. Next time will be the Abra line, although I remember you saying that you're excited for that. Unfortunately, I do have to bring a little bit of unfortunate news. I am going to be taking the next, I'm going to say, I don't know the exact amount of time. I'm just going to say next couple weeks to focus more intensely on my upcoming video on gold and silver. Because I'm starting to get to the point where, like, if I put my full attention onto it, I can get it out in a somewhat reasonable, somewhat reasonable amount of time. It's still like, it's not like the Pikmin 2 situation where it's just gonna be like, I take a week off, video comes right out. It's definitely like not in that state yet, but it's in a spot where I'm consistently working on it. And it's like, I don't want to say almost ready, but it's like, it's getting decently close. So I won't be live next week. I don't know the next time I will be. But for that, just keep up with my my community posts. The next time I will go live, I will announce it beforehand on my community page. I will likely announce it on a Tuesday like I usually do. But you never know, so just keep an eye out. More than likely, though, I probably won't stream again until the video is out. So that's probably, the video will be the next time you hear from me. With that, though, I'm excited to get that video done and out, because I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited to talk about it and everything revolving around that. And then eventually, when that's done, I will be also quite excited to get back to this project. So with all that said, thank you all so much for watching. Chalkiana, thank you for joining the stream chat. Thank you to any people who either watched the live stream and didn't chat or watched the VOD afterwards. I really appreciate all of that. And with all that said, thanks again, and I hope to see you again soon.